You're scrolling through Instagram on a Tuesday afternoon, dragging your thumb across the screen, and there it is. That guy from high school, the one who barely passed algebra, is posting a sunset photo from a villa in the Maldives. Caption? Grateful. Meanwhile, you are sitting in a cubicle, or maybe on your couch, staring at a banking app notification that says your electric bill just auto-paid, and now your checking account balance is uncomfortably close to double digits. That triggers something, doesn't it? That sinking feeling in your stomach? You start doing the mental math. You work hard, you have a decent job, you followed the rules, so why does it feel like everyone else was handed a secret manual to wealth that got lost in your mail? You wonder if you're falling behind. You wonder if you'll ever actually catch up. But here's the cold, hard truth that social media filters conveniently hide. Most of what you think is rich is actually just debt with a good PR team. Today, we are going to strip away the vanity metrics and the leased BMWs to look at the raw data. We are going to look at exactly what it takes, down to the dollar, to rank in the top 50%, the top 10%, and the top 1% of Americans. And I promise you, the difference between looking wealthy and actually being wealthy is going to make you rethink every financial decision you have made in the last 5 years. But first, let's talk about why you feel this way. We live in an economy that is fundamentally designed to confuse income with wealth. You see a neighbor with a shiny new truck and a renovated kitchen, and your brain says they are winning. But your brain is lying to you. Your brain sees the consumption, but it doesn't see the balance sheet. It doesn't see that they're drowning in credit card interest or that they have $0 in their 401k. The system relies on you feeling inadequate so that you keep spending money you don't have to buy things you don't need to impress people you don't even like. It's a hamster wheel, and the only way to get off is to understand where you actually stand on the ladder. So let's look at the context. How did we get to a point where 6 figures feels like the new minimum wage in some cities? Historically, the markers of wealth were physical: land, gold, factories. Today, wealth is invisible. It's digits on a screen. It's equity. It's compound interest. And because it's invisible, we substitute it with visible markers: cars, clothes, vacations. But the economic landscape has shifted beneath our feet. Inflation has eroded the purchasing power of the dollar to the point where making $100,000 today has the same buying power that $60,000 had just a couple of decades ago. Housing costs have skyrocketed, detaching completely from local wages. This means that the old benchmarks, the millionaire status, don't mean what they used to. Being a millionaire used to mean you were set for life. Now, in a major coastal city, it means you can technically afford a fixer-upper in a Honda Civic. So let's break down the actual tiers. We're going to look at 2 different metrics: income and net worth, and you need to understand the distinction or you will stay broke forever. Income is how much water flows into your bucket. Net worth is how much water stays in the bucket after you poke holes in it with your lifestyle choices. Let's start with the halfway point, the top 50%. To be technically above average in the United States, your household needs to bring in approximately $83,000 a year. That's it. If you and your partner earned $42,000 each, congratulations, you are earning more than half the country. But let's be honest, does $83,000 feel rich? Absolutely not. In most major metros, $83,000 is keep the lights on money. It's maybe we can order pizza on Friday money. Now look at the net worth for this group. The median net worth in America is sitting right around $193,000. But wait, before you panic because you don't have $200K in the bank, realize that this number is heavily skewed by age. If you are under 35, the median net worth is roughly $39,000. That's the bar. If you have $40,000 to your name, including your car equity and that $500 you threw into crypto 2 years ago, you are winning against your peers. But winning at this level is like being the fastest turtle. You're still vulnerable. One medical emergency, one layoff, and you are back to zero. This is the treading water tier. Now let's ratchet it up. Let's look at the top 25%. This is the upper middle class stream. To crack the top 25% of earners, your household needs to bring in about $150,000 annually. Now we're getting somewhere. At 150K, the crushing anxiety of can I pay rent usually fades, replaced by the new anxiety of why is daycare as expensive as a mortgage? In terms of net worth, to be in the top 25% of households, you are looking at a number north of $600,000. This is usually where home ownership enters the chat. The majority of this wealth isn't liquid cash. It's trapped in the drywall of a house you're paying off for the next 30 years. People in this tier look successful. They drive nice SUVs, they go to Disney World. But, and this is a big but, they're often 1 or 2 bad months away from disaster because their lifestyle has inflated to match their income exactly. They are running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. So when do you actually become rich? Let's talk about the top 10%. This is the psychological barrier. To be in the top 10% of earners, your household income needs to be approximately $251,000 a year, $250,000. This is the doctor, the senior engineer, the successful small business owner. At this level, you can buy almost anything you want within reason. You aren't flying private, but you aren't looking at the price of strawberries at the grocery store anymore. But here is where the net worth number gets interesting. To be in the top 10% of wealth, what you actually keep, you need a net worth of roughly $1.9 million. Nearly $2 million. This is the point where the game changes. Why? Because at $2 million, your money starts working harder than you do. If you have $2 million invested conservatively, it might generate $80,000 to $100,000 a year in passive returns. That is a full-time salary that you didn't have to clock in for. This is the freedom tier. The people in this tier often don't look like the people in the top 25%. They might drive an older Volvo, they might wear generic jeans, but they sleep like babies because they possess the ultimate luxury, autonomy. And finally, let's look at the stratosphere, the top 1%. To earn your way into this club, your household income needs to be roughly $659,000 or higher. But income at this level is deceptive. Most people in the 1% aren't getting there through a W-2 salary. They get there through equity, business ownership, and capital gains. And the net worth? To be a true 1%er in America today, you need a net worth of roughly $11.6 million. Just let that sink in. The gap between the top 10%, the $2 million household, and the top 1% is nearly $10 million. It is not a linear progression, it is exponential. The rich are not just a little richer than the middle class, they are operating in a completely different gravitational field. So why does this matter to you? You're just trying to pay off your student loans, right? Here is the analysis that nobody wants to hear. We spend our entire lives chasing the wrong number. We chase income, we chase the raise, we chase the bonus. But income is taxed the heaviest, and it stops the moment you stop working. You can have a top 1% income and a bottom 50% net worth if you spend it all. There are professional athletes who make $10 million a year and go bankrupt 5 years after retirement. Conversely, you can have a top 25% income and build a top 5% net worth if you understand the gap. The gap is simply the space between what you earn and what you burn. That is it. That is the whole secret. The wealthy, the truly wealthy, not the Instagram pretenders, are obsessed with widening that gap. They don't use rising income to buy better cars. They use it to buy more assets. Think of it this way. Every dollar you earn is an employee. If you spend it on a designer belt, you fired that employee. If you invest it, you gave that employee a job for life, and their job is to make more little-dollar employees for you. The problem is, most of us are terrible bosses. We fire every dollar the second it hits our account. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, great, the system is rigged, inflation is eating my lunch, and I need millions to be free, thanks for the depression. But hold on, there is a solution here, and it's not stop buying coffee. That advice is garbage. The solution is structural. First, you have to stop playing the status game. The status game is a race to the bottom where the prize is anxiety. When you see that guy in the Maldives, realize that statistically, he put that trip on a credit card. When you see the neighbor with the new Tesla, realize they're leasing a liability. Detach your self-worth from your spending. It sounds spiritual, but it's actually just cold, hard math. Second, you need to track your net worth, not your bank balance. Your bank balance is just a holding tank. Your net worth is your scorecard. If you earn $100,000 this year, but your net worth doesn't go up, you worked for free. You simply transferred money from your employer to your landlord in the grocery store. You kept nothing. Third, you need to target the next tier up, but focus on the right metric. If you were in the bottom 50%, your only goal is survival and stability. Build the emergency fund so you stop bleeding out to credit card interest. If you are in the middle, your goal is asset accumulation. You need to start buying things that go up in value, stocks, real estate, businesses, rather than things that go down in value, cars, electronics, clothes. The beauty of the compounding curve is that it starts slow, painfully slow. It feels like pushing a boulder up a hill. You save, and the number barely moves. That's the suck phase. Everyone goes through it. But if you keep pushing, eventually the boulder crests the hill. That's when you hit that top 10% tier. That's when the momentum takes over. You have to decide which game you are playing. Are you playing the game of looking rich? That game is easy. You can win that game tomorrow with a high-limit Visa card. Or are you playing the game of being wealthy? That game is hard. It's boring. It takes time, and nobody will applaud you for it while you're doing it. But 10 years from now, when the economy crashes, or you want to quit your toxic job, or you want to retire early, the person who played the looking rich game will be panic selling their lifestyle. The person who played the wealth game will simply check their accounts, pour a cup of coffee, and realize that freedom was worth the wait. The numbers don't lie. The thresholds are high and the system is tough. But you aren't competing with the billionaires. You are competing with your former self. So look at your net worth. Be honest about it, and start climbing the ladder that actually matters. If you found value in this reality check, you know what to do. But more importantly, go check your own numbers, because ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is expensive.